why make it hard on yourself, right? If you're thinking, if most people and most investors, when you're wholesaling a property, putting it under contract, right? And you're gonna have to sell it to an end buyer who are mostly investors, because when wholesaling works with cash deals, occasionally you'll have people who use private money, but most wholesale deals in the traditional wholesale way, you cannot sell it with bank financing.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, you guys are going to get some investment, some real estate, and all type of game. My guest today will be Sandy Cesaire, and I'm saying that like it just rolls off the tongue. It rolls off the tongue like some pickles on a great dish. But
Pickles.
I know about it, Sandy, the one in the back of the fridge, but she's giving us the game. And Sandy, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I am grateful and I am doing very well.
Awesome. Well, introduce, and tell the people just kind of what you do, because from your voice, they're going to say, does she do voiceover too?
No, not I.
Not yet. But yeah, give the game. What type of entrepreneur, real estate, investor are you, and all the different skills and talents that you have?
Yeah, well, so I own a basically real estate investment company, and our main focus and niche is mobile homes. So we basically wholesale mobile homes on land, right? And we've niched down to that for a couple of years now, but I've been in the business overall for 18 and a half years. I've been in the real estate business. So I got started really young. And when I first got started, I got my real estate license, immediately started doing mortgages, and at the same time, and just started basically learning about investing in different real estate investing styles and strategies. And so what I did was when I initially got started, my main focus at the time was doing mortgages. Even though I had my real estate license, it was within 6 months that I actually started doing mortgages and then started flipping properties. And so I'm the type of person that like to dive in head first and then swim to try to figure my way out. And so I would go to investors meetings, different clubs and networking events, just trying to learn and make contacts. And so through that, I made one of the contacts I made, I ended up buying 10 properties from them. And those properties were buy and holds. Basically, I bought them and kept them as rentals, Section 8 rentals. And he introduced me to some other investors who I ended up buying more properties from. So that's how I got started in the business. So I was, doing mortgages, I was buying and holding, doing rentals, and then fixing and flipping properties. So for years, that was my niche. And then, and I had made tons of money. I made a lot of money. And then when the market crashed, I lost everything. So, from having so many properties, a portfolio of well over 20 that I own. And I know at one point I was controlling at least 60 properties. And so all of the money that I had made and really to back up real quick, before the market actually crashed, I was actually able to sell the majority of my properties. Some people thought, like, how did you know it was going to happen? I didn't know anything. I didn't know what was going to happen, but I had a goal, and my goal was to just take the money and then move from owning single family residences and just going into apartment complex. But what I did was, the mistake that I made, and I made tons of mistakes. The mistake that I made was, the money that I had received from selling all the properties, I had set it aside. However, I started loaning money out to people that I knew I had done business with. I trusted them. And doing that was not the problem. The problem was I did it, basically cross my T's, dot my I's, making sure that I have collateral, making sure that they're signing paperwork. I just went on this, oh, you my friend, I know you trust system. And so, a lot of people a lot of people that I, loan money to, they basically lost my money for me. But, of course, you got to take blame and responsibility for what happens, in your life. That's how you're going to grow anyways, right? So basically, going through that process, I literally lost everything. I ended up losing a handful of properties, to foreclosure, but the majority of the properties that I had, I had ended up, selling them. So now, I'm in this state of depression, confusion, depression, and just basically feeling really down on myself, and about, you know, the mistakes that I had made, the choices that I had made that got me to that point. You know what I mean? So I was really, really hard on myself. So it took a lot, to get myself out of that state. I was depressed for a while. But I had to like say, look, what are you doing? What are you doing? This ain't helping nothing. You know what I mean? So, and this isn't you. So I had to like really give myself a pep talk over and over and over again, and pray over and over and over again to get out of that state, because it was like, look, you know what you're doing. This is what you do. So stop your little pity party that you have going on here. You know what I mean? And get your butt back up and do what you do, So from that moment on, I just, what, got my butt up. I said, look, and I had no money. Like literally, like I went from having all of this money, all these properties, to literally having negative dollars in my account. Literally having negative dollars in my account. And I even went on food stamp for 6 months. Okay. And here's the thing about that for me is just I grew up on welfare. My mom, had to have food stamp for a while because, I'm from Haiti. That came here as migrant farm workers working in the sugarcane field and the cornfield. And my mom, like, and my dad too, like, they would be working like 16-hour days for $20. You know what I mean? And then the first hourly job that she got, because they were getting, to back up, they were getting 10 cents per box of corn that they were packing up. So all day, 10 cents a box, like literally, they be making like $20. You know what I'm saying? So you got to imagine that, right? And then I remember even like a step up when they got the first hourly job full time, they were making $4.15 an hour each. You know what I'm saying? And
Wow.
supporting the family here, supporting their family in Haiti. So I mean, that really was no money. So she had food stamp. But then I remember as soon as my mom years later got a job, and it was like $8 an hour, she cut all the welfare off. I mean, really, and that's nothing, right? That's no money. You still gotta, all these kids and all this family you're taking care of. So, just seeing that, in my parents, they're like extreme hard workers. So like for me, and I always had this inner self pride too, you know what I mean? In the sense of, look, I'm gonna hustle up and do what I gotta do to achieve my goal. I don't want to be out here on some food stamp. It's like great for the people that actually need it and live, to need to live for the moment being, but you don't take that and make that your livelihood. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
But anyway, so going back to the story, being depressed and saying, you know what, you need to get yourself together, do what you do best. Then I got out, I started, driving around, and in the real estate world, we call that driving for dollars. You look for deals, you know what I mean? You basically driving around looking for deals. And so I started driving around, and there was a car, not a car, there was a property, a house with a for sale by owner sign in front of it. So I call that owner up. And one of the things I like to do is, in the real estate world, one thing I like to do, look, if I'm talking to an owner about a property for sale, I'm going to ask them automatically if they have any more properties for sale. don't assume they don't, and don't assume that's the only one. So when I called him, that property was still available. And I said, do you have any more properties for sale? He was like, I got 4. I was like, hallelujah, And then so basically I put all those properties under contract. And basically what wholesaling is, it's kind of like you are acting as the middle person, right? So let's say, for example, if you have a house for sale, you're selling your house, right? Me and you come into an agreement of what we're gonna purchase the property for. Okay. Now, and one of the key that makes this work is because you're buying properties below market value. So typically these are the sellers that would sell their properties below market value are, owners with some kind of distressed situation. So they're pretty motivated to sell. You know what I mean? They need to get off that property quickly, whether it's a headache property because they live too far away, they cannot take care of it, or they're going through a divorce, or there's some kind of illness, death in the family. There's a reason why they don't want to deal with that property, or the property needs too much, it has too much repairs, they don't have money to deal with it, or maybe they do, they just don't want to bother with it. So there's a situation there that makes them motivated to sell that property. So in the wholesaling world, you are looking for situations like that, right? You're looking for situations like that because you have to buy the property at a discount, because what you're going to turn around and do is you're going to assign that contract to an end buyer, right? You're going to assign that contract to an end buyer who's going to buy it at a discount also. So you're buying low and you're selling low essentially, right? And you're doing that via an assignment of contract. So technically, because you don't own the property, so technically what you're selling is the contract that you have with that owner.
And Sandy, and you have a YouTube, and I know you haven't shown it love in a while. It's been a minute since
Yeah,
before
I
you got.
haven't updated my YouTube in years.
Yeah, but I want people to go check that out, and because we've talked about that, and Max talks about wholesaling. He has the perfect beard on YouTube. We're all trying to get that Max beard, but I want to go deep because you said something in the beginning. You said so many things, but one, I want to know at what age you started, and then I want you to explain that mobile investment, because that is something new to the diversified game audience. They haven't heard anybody doing the mobile home investment. So can you tell them at what age you started so they know that they can too, and what that mobile home investment looks like?
Yeah, so when I first started, like literally, I started when I was 21. But get this though, when I first moved, like 18, moved out of my parents' house, and then I went to Tampa, I immediately signed up for the real estate class, right? 18, I had no money, and I sat in the class. Let me tell you, I was so confused. I didn't know what the heck was going on. I didn't know what this dude was talking about. And I was just sitting in the class, but trying to take it all in. But I was really confused, let me tell you. So, but anywho, when I signed up for the class, I did a deposit. I didn't have all the cash, but when it came time to the last day, it was like $45, yo, like $45. And I didn't have that. So they're like, no money, no test. You know what I mean? And so I couldn't take the test, and I couldn't finish the class. So it was like, fine. So 2 years later, I went back. I said, here's all your money up front, all of $245, I think it was. Okay. So, but I was like, here's your money. Took the class and then took the test. So 21, this was what, like 2002, I think. Yeah, I'm 39 now. So, but anyway, so 21, and then I got the license, but I got into real estate because I used to watch those Carlton Sheets back in the days. You remember those infomercials?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know some people don't like them, but I used to watch those Carlton Sheets, and then there was like Rich Dad Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki, and I just always literally had that entrepreneurial drive in me. You know what I mean? So, and I like money. I was like, I want to make money. So I had that drive. That's to want to go and figure something out and do something. on my own and for myself. And then in those infomercials kind of like gave me the boost. And I went in and, took the class. And then, like I said, then, it just took off from there. You know what I mean? And then so what got me into the mobile home investing, because here's the thing, like most typical investors that are buying to hold or buying to flip, but most of them stay away from mobile homes. Many people stay away from mobile homes. So, and I used to too, because, you know, it's kind of like, you think if you're going to do the business, why make it hard on yourself, right? And then if you're thinking, if most people and most investors, when you're wholesaling a property, putting it under contract, right, and you're going to have to sell it to an end buyer who are mostly investors, because when wholesaling works with cash deals, occasionally you'll have people who use private money, but most wholesale deals in the traditional wholesale way, you cannot sell it with bank financing. You know what I mean? It has to be a cash deal. And then a lot of those buyers are investors. And so if these investors are not interested in mobile homes, then why are you going to go after mobile homes? Because it's going to be harder to sell, right? So that's the overall view. So I used to totally ignore mobile homes. However, a couple of years ago, we got a lead. And then, I just said, you know what, let's give it a try. Let's give it a try. So, and then we did the deal, and we made a $10,000 assignment fee on the deal. And then so I was like, well, wait a minute, because these are the same type of assignment fees that we do in single family homes or duplex, or the typical, type of deal, right? So I was like, well, we're leaving money on the table. And so in my mind, the way my mind also operates is, you know what? If everybody is going this way, I don't mind going that way to see what's there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So that struck my interest, and then I decided, you know what, let me do a campaign and just target all mobile homes. And we did that, and then we did really well. And here's the other thing too, especially, and I was in Tampa at the time, and Tampa is one of the very competitive market in the country when it comes to like wholesaling, and other investors there. There's still money there. There's still money to be made, but a lot of time, if we're marketing, like literally we got to fight 20 to 100 other investors for the same deal. You know what I'm saying? As
Hmm.
opposed to like the mobile home. And I realized after we did the first campaign, some of the sellers were like, we have never received any postcards or any letters or anybody asking us to buy our properties. And then so that made me think, well, okay, well, there's something there. Because do I want to fight you know 20 other people for the same deal, or do I want to go here where I'm fighting none or maybe one or two?
So to be clear, you're finding mobile homes, people that are already there, and saying, I want to, I want to buy this land. That's what you're doing?
Yeah, so basically, so now we have to, when we generate leads, we do different type of marketing to find our deals. So I'll send, most of mine is mailers. There are some people who do like cold calling, texting, or different strategies, but most of my strategy includes a lot of mailers. So basically, if you ever see like one of those letters or cards saying, hey, we're interested in buying your property, that's what I do, to have these sellers call our number, and then we take it from there, right?
Hmm.
So now that we started targeting basically mobile, and I have to tell you too, it's not like like a mobile home itself. I didn't know anything really about a mobile home itself, but I know how to do deals. You know what I'm saying? I've been doing it deals for years. So it's just a different asset class, basically. So like, when we started doing the mobile homes, just going basically hard on it, and we learn, we and still learning a lot of stuff as we go. But I say that to say this, because a lot of us want to wait for everything to be perfect to get started. You know what I mean? They want to
Yeah.
wait for everything to get perfect to get started. or they feel like they don't know enough. Sometimes you just got to take the leap, and you're gonna learn as you go along. And that's just really how life operates anyways. You know what I'm saying? And then you got to be willing to learn. If you got to hire some experts to come in and help you do that, but everything doesn't have to be perfect. Learn the fundamentals, and then you can navigate your way through anything. So, and we do we've done over 70 mobile homes already this year. Next year we're looking to double that to reach about, our goal is 200 next year, so we're
So
gonna
let me
scale
ask you
things up.
though.
Mhm.
Let me ask you, people who are in mobile homes, and mobile homes, they range. Usually, aren't those people kind of quite settled? How difficult is it to move them out? Or is also the other part of the flip just to find land for those same people? Maybe you would have moved in the next neighborhood to say, I have land over here, come be my tenant, or maybe I want to sell this to you. Like, how does that work? Because mobile home communities, I would find it maybe difficult to move those people out of certain communities. You know how they make their community. So explain that to us, how that works.
Okay, so well, our main focus is mobile home on land where the owner owns the home and the land. Now you're talking
Mhm.
about mobile home in parks where they're leasing the land, and basically they have their mobile home there. So yeah, so if they were leasing the land, now if they're selling the home, then you have to figure things out with the park, because the parks, they come with their own set of rules and regulation, and every park is different, right? So yeah, they may have to move a home if you can't qualify to stay in that park, you know what I mean? Or if they're selling that home, so these are, it's like two different, basically two different animals. Now, the mobile home on land, which is my main focus as far as our business goes, you own the property, you own the land, and the home. Now, as the owner, you can do whatever you want. If you want to change the home, if you need to tear it down, because and then we get a lot of homes too that needs a lot of work where they cannot be salvaged, so the home has to be torn down. But on the other hand, we have investors who are looking for the land so they can bring in a different home, or maybe if zoning will allow it, if they can bring in multiple home because they create more cash flow for them.
Mm.
But yeah, but the homes, it can be moved if you need to move it.
Okay, no, this is good stuff, and I say that we've had guests, and so I just want to like give the audience a full picture, because we've had guests who have invested in dirt, and we've actually bought some of the dirt here in Florida, and we bought our plot of land on
Mhm,
the other side, close to the beach.
mhm.
And before, people were like, I never had heard that you could do this, so that you're doing this and that you're going to have a course on it. Oh yeah, folks, she has a course coming, and her links for her beautiful website will be in the description box. But I just want to make it clear so it's not a game overload. And I even want to go back to what you said prior, of you giving out this money when things were good, but in banking on credit. Now, my first thought when you said I'm giving out money, I'm like, okay, well, she's doing too many saws. But, or why didn't she bring people into the saw and say, look, I'll give you the money, but you got to have some skin in the game. And a saw, folks, is a high end savings plan in different communities. Africans from different
Haitian.
countries, Haitians, Spanish, everybody calls it something different. Jangi for some of y'all from
Mhm.
Cameroon and Nigeria, but it's collecting money. So when you were giving this money and saying, hey, credit is good and we got these homes, the mentality of what you're doing now, are you still giving that money? Are you part of
So
a song?
yeah, so no, when I was giving, and I say giving, really wasn't really giving. They were basically loans that I gave out, but I just
Mhm.
did not make sure I have all my paperwork filled out. I didn't have no collateral. I just trusted them to do basically right by me. And I don't think, I don't think that actually meant any harm, but you know what they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. You know what I'm saying? So, but to say that, I don't think, and some people would say differently. I don't think they were like set out to get me. It was just basically a messed up, economic condition at the time, and a lot of people lost money, and I just happened to be collateral damage. You know what I mean? Now, so like for example, like one of the investor friends that I had, I loaned him $230,000, and he used to loan money out to people. He loaned it out to, some guys that were building new homes at the time. And I think one of them finished the building, and then the other one, basically at the end of it all, I was like, okay, so project went bust or whatever. Where's my paperwork? Where's my collateral? Because when you stop paying the bank, the bank have a house to take back, and the land that comes with it to take back. I didn't have that. And the reason why I didn't have that is because I didn't do what I was supposed to do to make sure I had all those stuff, done where I was protected. You know what I mean? And even if it didn't worth as much as I had loaned out, initially, I would still had something. You know what I mean? But I didn't have any of that because I wasn't minding my business the way that I should have. I allowed other people to do as they will, basically with my money, and not protecting it. So that's how I end up losing a lot of money.
Okay. And that you can get it back. I mean, that's what entrepreneurship, there's no guaranteed payment, but you're doing well. If I didn't tell you guys, how I met Sandy was actually just jogging around the neighborhood, and, and I've had Rick Party on, who you guys have seen, who now is a friend and a mentor, just going around the neighborhood and talking to people. And so with that, you wrote a book. It's on Amazon. Again, links, description box. Do you enjoy writing, or was it just kind of an urge where you said, you know what, I'm tired of repeating myself, I got to put this in a book?
Actually, you know what? I do enjoy writing, but I don't get enough time to do it. So I don't do it often, but I have so many ideas in my head now. But that book was, a friend of mine, a friend, basically several friend of mine's, right? How do I get in real estate? How do I get in real estate? Always asking, and then wanting to know what's the first step, next step. So I decided, okay, let me put some guidelines together. It wasn't supposed to be a book. So first it was like 1 page, and then it was like 2 pages, and then 3 pages. By page 12, I said, the hell with this. We're going to turn this into a book. So that's how that came about.
Wow. No, that's awesome. And that's just the natural way. I mean, entrepreneurs, we've read it in all the books that, we solve problems, and the book is just an added bonus. Now, you've done YouTube, but have you ever thought about maybe putting a documentary or some type of, movie out there to show the other side? Because you and your husband, you guys are young, you fly, and just able, and a lot of our people, they're like, man, I'm not reading no book. But if you put it in a movie and put a little plot twist or documentary, then show how you're living, folks will be like, oh, okay, I'm listening.
That's
so
what you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a great idea. That's a great idea. I haven't thought about it specifically in that way, but the thought have crossed my mind.
Okay. And how, and talking about your husband, he's an entrepreneur as well. How has he impacted your business?
Well, he's a marketer. He's more like a structured type of person, where I am basically, I'm like that visionary. He's a visionary too, but like, I'm like that visionary, but like, along with that is all the chaos that's in my head. You know what I mean? All the chaos, and then all different ideas. And I literally have to like tell myself to focus, focus, focus. Otherwise, I'll be out here chasing way too many rabbits. You know what I mean? So, because it's like, oh, there's this next good idea. Oh my gosh, I have this next great idea. But, what I have learned over time is, if you really want to like, be successful, at one point you have to like focus. And before you start chasing the next thing, make sure everything is in line with one thing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, exactly. And I'm the type that's like, my mind will be here and there. So he helps kind of keep me focused. like remind me that, okay, it's not time to go after this idea yet. You need to finish up with this idea, because he's just very like structured, very organized person, the type that plans everything. Not me. I don't, like if we have a trip 6 months down the line, I'm like, what we planning now for? Like, I got 5 months. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm that type where it's like, okay, and it drives me crazy because that's not my personality, right? But it's also necessary, but it drives me nuts. But yeah, so he's just very structured and very organized and just very like, to the point.
No, that's awesome. I can already know that on your personality test, it starts with an E. And so does mine, because I get it. But having a great team of people and building that out where you can create something. I tell people I love to start things, and I really, when I found out that was okay, was I was probably 14, 15 and read a Donald Trump book
Mm-hmm.
when he used to be sane, at least to the
Yeah.
masses. And that's my Irish twin, actually. So I read it, and he's like, I have people who all they do is like to start things and they sell it off or they let someone else manage it. And
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. But
Yeah.
the school system does not make you think that that's okay. They make you seem like you're all over the place. So people think, oh,
Right.
you're so scatterbrained. So
Right.
I'm glad that you put it out there that, yeah, it's okay to
Yeah,
be
it's
creative.
fine. You just have to learn, and it took a while too. It's just like you say, like we are raised, not just the school system. Too sometimes it's our parents and people. Like at the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know, right? So now I don't blame these people because they don't know what they don't know. You know what I'm saying? So the school system is just like, they teach, basically they there to teach you how to be a worker bee. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I mean, not all schools are created equal. Not all teachers are created equal. There are some really, really good ones, they actually understand, gets it, and care. Um, but like, growing up from not just being in school, just people around you, church, whoever, family, neighborhood, the community, it's like because they don't get it. So they make people who are a certain type of way feel bad about who they are and what they are, where they really should show you how to not only embrace that, but how to make it work for you and not against you. Because that's the problem, like to be scatterbrained and coming up with ideas all the time. And, that's the visionary. That's great. However, but this is how you structure it so you can actually have success and you're not just always chasing something, but never ending up with, ending up with nothing. So how to create a team behind that. You know what I'm saying? So like, especially one of the things that I'm learning and have learned is like if you're a visionary, now you need somebody to implement those things. You know what I mean? So you need to
Definitely.
just pair up with the right people, create the right team. If you gotta, hire the right people, you just gotta know how to structure that. And vice versa, because we all are so different. We all have different personalities, but the beauty in that is it's kind of like this. God was smart in the sense of He created us to need each other. Not one person have everything they need. You know what I mean? Like you need somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like you need somebody else to bring your vision to reality. There's
Definitely got to have a team. I haven't seen
yeah,
one person win solo, not
right.
one.
Yeah, exactly. So like bringing it back to like our childhood and in our upbringing, it's like if people had taught me or us that look, okay, you are like this. That's nothing wrong with you. You know what I mean? It's not like, oh, why you can't ever focus? Why you can't ever finish something? Why you can't, it's like they bring out negative, they make it something negative. But can you imagine like growing up if you know if the framing was different, it's like, okay, this is what you are, this is your personality is like that because that's how you created to be unique, but this is how you use that to be successful. This is what you need. You know what I mean?
You
But this,
definitely.
you know what I'm saying? Like just reframing it instead of like making that person out to be like a bad person or a bad kid or you know
Well, I hope that you check, these teachers. I've had to check a couple of them at the school across the street,
mhm.
where when our kids, and my wife has done a great job as well when she's home, because the way even I think, a lot of us grow up we have the recipe, we don't have the ingredients to make it work. And
Mhm.
so now that we're able to, for our kids to have those ingredients and say, do you want a business? Okay, what do you want to do? Here's what you want. Boom. Show me what you can do and have fun doing it. We
Yeah.
just gotta, that's our goal, because the teachers, I mean, I've been a teacher before. I've had a lot of jobs.
Mhm.
That their job is not to bring out that creativity, not because they don't want to. A lot of times it's the school system in the
Mhm.
rules that are placed on them, in being creative. So now that you're being able to be creative and do what you want to do, and she's going all over, you guys. I can't say where she's going to travel, but she's traveling and making deals happen. What is like your ultimate goal in business? Where do you see yourself in the next 5-10 years?
Yeah, so my 5-year goal for the wholesale business, at least my 5-year goal for that one is to be at build it up to at least a $25 million business so I can give away $2 million to our community. You know what I'm saying? In different parts of our community. And then I also I would like to basically build a platform that is basically the Zillow of mobile homes. So that's also one of the goals for that. Now I do have other goals as well that I would like to accomplish, but ultimately though, like my mission is basically to create wealth so I can give back to our communities. You know what I mean? So I have like so many different ideas, and like even like right now, I make it a point to give back now. Like every single deal that we do, every single deal, part of that is helping Belle Glade, which is where I grew up, another poor community, helping families in need, helping people in Haiti, doing what I can. I just now want to do that on a bigger scale later on, and on a bigger scale. Eventually what I would like to do is maybe like build, I have a vision that I want to build in basically an entrepreneur center in the areas like where like minorities and black people like us, like we basically can train like the youth. You know what I mean? We can train the youth up to be entrepreneurs, give them the right tools, mindset, right training. I one day, that's my vision. One day we can have one of those all over the country and in some poor countries too.
Awesome, awesome. And I'm gonna, off air, I want to get that Belle Glade map, because on my way to going to buy our land that we bought,
Mhm.
we had to pass through there, and I didn't know anything about the history. And then I looked at the history of athletes and different things, and I saw the
Mhm.
folks who are during COVID might have lost their job, but now they're chefs. And
Oh
I'm like,
my God.
yeah,
Yeah.
I need that game, but I'm gonna get that off air because that's a personal thing, and this is for the people.
Mhm.
But can you tell me, with all the success that you have had and that you're having, and you just touched upon it, what is the community give back? If you just reinstate that, that's my signature
Yeah, like
question.
so,
Kind
oh
of,
my gosh.
yeah.
So every year, and now
Mm.
this year was a little different because of the COVID. Every single year to just the start of the school year, we're giving away like 200 book bags to kids in the community, but not just the book bags, school supplies, like notebooks, the whole 9 yards, just to get them going, right? And I've been doing that for maybe like 4 or 5 years now. I've been doing that. Now this year things changed. They didn't need the book bags and school supplies because they have to be home virtual schooling. So we bought, like, I think it was like 200 or more, like all the Ethernet cords and the routers and stuff that would need at home, because the parents don't have the resources to get all of that. So we bought just a bunch of those. I sent it to the church actually where I grew up in, and then they went to all the houses of kids that needs that. So yeah,
You,
so that's one thing. That's one thing. But throughout the year, and especially this year during COVID, but I've done this too, like prior, every year Thanksgiving, I'm like, look, send me some names of family that could really need some help, and then we send them a check to get their, you know, Thanksgiving together. several families and their Christmas together, Christmas holidays. I do that. But even like this year throughout COVID, it's just, so many people was going through a lot. So basically, I reached out to leaders in the community and say, hey, look, let me know like what families that can really use some help, and they'll send me like a list of some families that can like literally use some help, and then we send some help out.
Okay. And how has COVID impacted your business?
Well, so at first, like we didn't know what was going to happen. You know what I mean? We didn't really know because, there are some families that were like, basically there's a risk, you know what I mean? So when we having people go see properties, you have to get everybody have to leave. Like it's just very inconvenient for some people because you have to be safe throughout that whole process. However, though, we still have a lot of our deals that's basically the property is vacant, you know what I mean? So it didn't impact us as much with that, but we actually didn't know what was going to happen when COVID first started, because there are some state, and I have some friends where they shut down their business, period. You know what I mean? They couldn't do anything. But in here, thank God, it didn't really impact us as much. It was just the stuff that happens are like minor things, you know what I mean? And that's just like for the safety, which is fine because you can't have a bunch of people walking through a property and during these times. It's just not safe.
So would you say that it was, did business increase because maybe others
Yeah,
stepped
it did.
out?
It did. Yeah, it did. Yeah, actually it did. It didn't kill our business at all.
Okay. And I don't want to be insensitive, folks, because a lot of folks, lost people and lost jobs. But I keep having entrepreneurs on here who have told you during these times their business has increased. And I know ours has as well, because we're technical people, and the stuff that we do online, people are like, we need that. Even churches, we need our service. We need our tithes. We need our offerings. So, and so that's a beautiful thing. Now, you guys are getting the game. I want you to go after this interview, check out her website. I want you to go bug her about her courses that are to come. I want you to go buy the book. And I also want you to like, share, and subscribe. Sandy, I thank you for coming on. I don't want to give them a game overload, and I do want to talk to you shortly after this. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Thank you so much.